Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste, friends. Today, I wish to present the Ashtakavarga workbook, an Excel workbook for Ashtakavarga. Basically, why this was created was by a friend of mine. He took the book from Dr. B.V. Raman's Ashtakavarga, a great book with excellent examples. In fact, a list of very many calculations of Ashtakavarga for multiple charts is given there. He was not able to basically reproduce those results in Jagannathavara. He felt that Jagannathavara there is something amiss or something like that. But I was sure Jagannathavara is doing it right. But anyway, I also wanted to verify that because he wanted to know the mechanism of the calculations also. So I put it in Excel for me to understand it myself and also verify it against Jagannathavara. So that's how it was created. So let me tell you what you'll have to do here in this Excel to make use of this. Here, this is the Binashtakavarga of the planets. These 7 planets, including the ascendant as the 8th one, for at the various rashis. So how do I get this? I get it directly from Jagannathavara because Jagannathavara does it. We don't have to unnecessarily reproduce it in Excel. So, but it's a little roundabout way. I will tell you how I do it. I open Jagannathavara. In fact, I'll illustrate to you based upon a standard chart that the book of Dr. B.V. Raman, he gives for a date of birth of October 16, 1918. So, one thing is preferences related to Ayanamsa. The book uses the Varahamira definition. So, all these have to be, there should be unchecked. So that is one thing my friend was missing. So that is a must. And also in many of the example charts, most of it's all LMT that is given in that book. And also even in the example charts, the Ayanamsas are different for, of course, depending on the date, the Ayanamsas are different. And also maybe B.V. Raman's Ayanamsa as in Jagannathavara doesn't match with the Ayanamsa given in that book. So preferably if you have to give the same Ayanamsa, you go to the preferences related to Ayanamsa here. Instead of choosing Legri or B.V. Raman's Ayanamsa, you better go to tropical Sayana. There is no Ayanamsa. Then you can really add the Ayanamsa that is given in the book of B.V. Raman to verify that. Some 23 degrees, 21 degrees. Specific Ayanamsa itself you can add. That way it is easier. But as of now, I'll just go by traditional Legri. In this, the Ayanamsa, the Ashtakavarga part is here. We can't unfortunately copy this as such because you don't have a copy part here. The way I go about doing it is I go to copying the entire calculation, copy, under the edit mode I go and copy the complete calculation, and then I open a notepad file. You can create a new notepad file and then paste it here. So this paste the entire calculations of Jagannathavara in notepad, and there you see the Ashtakavarga, Vinashtakavarga is there. So I am just going to from Saturn to Ascendant, I am going to copy that. I go to the Excel that I have created and then paste the Vinashtakavarga from Jagannathavara here in cell AS. So this is the Ascendant part, so I just paste it. Sometimes what happens, you might find that the columns are not separated. You might paste it as one column, in which case you have to go to data, text to columns, but in this case it has put it in separate columns. So it says it can convert only one column. In case it has put in one column, you can do that. Basically data, text to columns, delimited space as the delimited argument there, and next and you press OK, then it will separate into columns. So this is one way. So once that is done, now this is how you use the Jagannathavara, and you have the entire, you can maybe move this comment just for your sake it is given. The entire, I have basically to see it in pictorial form, I have the same numbers I put in different Ashtakavarga charts. So this is basically the same number in a different format. That's all. Now this needs trikona reduction. That is called reduction 1. Essentially, all the Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius are considered together the fire elements. If the Ashtakavarga score, Ashtakavarga score is the same, here it is 5, 4, and 5. The minimum of the three is deducted from all the one if the numbers are different. And such rules are, you can directly verify the book, look into the book and know to understand that. Otherwise, you can even go to the macro here that I have put for the reduction 1 and try to understand how it is done. So the macro here for reduction 1, it will tell you for 159 are the fire signs, and similarly 2, 6, 10 are the Aries signs, the fire earth signs. Similarly 3, 7, 11 are the Aries signs, and finally the watery signs 4, 8, 12. And how what rules go by, if you want to understand, you can do that, but otherwise if you want to know the mechanism of how these calculations are done, you can verify this code. But otherwise you just click here, then it will populate the calculation of the trikona reduction. In Jagannatha, you don't get this as an output, but internally it is done, but you can't see this as an output. And in a way, it is also not required because we won't use this directly anywhere except for the further calculation, which Jagannatha also does. The second reduction is called the Ekadipatya reduction, where the same a planet like Mars, it is owning both Aries as well as Scorpio. So planets which have two houses that are owned, there are some reductions for them alone. And depending upon if there are planets in one sign, you can again look into the code and try to understand how these are implemented. You otherwise read the book and you just click here. So it will populate based upon this. It will act upon this to further make the second reduction. This is called Ekadipatya reduction. In fact, this is again used uh, in some of the calculations in the book itself. There are some examples. This will be useful, and this you find in Jagannatha also. Now, further to this, there are what are called Rasi Pinda and Graha Pinda. The Rasi Pinda, see each Rasi has a Gunakara. For Aries, you give a number 7, 10. These are fixed numbers given by the Rishis. And Rasi Pinda is determined based upon, basically you use this reduced chart and multiply that by these fixed numbers to get a number for Surya and all that, and add up, that becomes the Rasi Pinda. Similarly, Graha Pinda, each Graha has a fixed Gunakara, and based upon that, you again check for in this table, use this table and use the, you can just go through the formulas if you want to understand. And this Guna Pinda are calculated. Just we have to verify with, this is what my friend was saying. He is not able to get it. But when I verify, I am exactly getting the same number. See, for instance, Surya is 96, 80, you just follow here, 126, 97, 79, 61, 108, and 86, 20, 71, 61, 45, 5, and 62 are the Gragapindas, and the sum of these two would be the Sodhya Pinda, and these will be exactly as Jagannath Vora reports. And in fact, I have verified all the values of Ashtakavarga book. So many examples are given in the Ashtakavarga book, and you can compare that to the Excel calculation, or Jagannath Vora does the same thing. The slight printing mistakes in the Ashtavarga book, very minor at times, but otherwise you can reproduce all those results. Jagannath Vora does not do other things. There is what is called a Mandala Sodhana, which is a corrected SAV, which is the Sarvashtakavarga. Sarvashtakavarga is basically the addition of all these. For Aries, it is 33, and so on and so forth. It is all added here. And if you deduct the multiples of 12 from the Sarvashtakavarga, then you get these numbers, and that is called a corrected SAV. And you can work on the reductions for this and the reductions for this based upon clicking here and clicking here. So which has already been done. So you see the same numbers repeating. And that is plotted here. I mean, these are also used in the book later to find the, and you can also find the Grahapinda for this Sarvashtakavarga too. There is what is called a Nakshatra Ayu calculation, which the book does based upon some zodiacal factors of the Rasi Pindas, and you can get how long a person can live. You just go through this calculation, it will be obvious which cells are used and how the calculations are arrived at. So this part, Nakshatra Ayu, is not also in Jagannath Hora, so this will be an addition to us. And the Excel will be also useful in many other ways. The Sarvashtakavarga scores for each bhava. So here Aries becomes the fourth bhava for this because it is Capricorn rising, I think. The ascendant is Capricorn here. So the colored ones are where the planets are. Surya is in Virgo with the four scores there. So the starred one just as this is Jagannath Hora's output. So the ascendant is Capricorn here. So those are, and you can use this in multiple ways because multiple calculations would be required based on Ashtakavargas. You have the stages of life, the 1, 4, 7, 10 are the Kendras. So to pull out the Kendra, I have used formulas, and it happens that the first stage for this person is 113 the score. Middle stage is Panaparas, the 2, 5, 8, 11, and 3, 6, 9, 12, the Apoplimas. He gets 113, 107, and 117. So the middle life seems to be more challenging compared to the first part of life or the last part of life. In fact, the later part of life seems to be very good for this person. So that's one aspect that we can use this. Loss and gain, essentially for these bhavas, you get the Sarvashtakavarga. And the evil bhava, 6, 8, 12, you get the Sarvashtakavargas. If this number is more than 164, the gain is good. If this number is uh, more than 76, your loss is more. And you can see these calculations indicated in multiple books. This would be one more useful checks that you can make. And these are Bandhu, Sevaka, Poshaka, and Gataka. Basically, 159 Dharma houses, Artha houses, Kama houses, and Moksha houses, which is having more score here. Poshaka also is more of a Vaishya type. This is a Brahmana. This is Shevaka, would be Kshatriya. This is the Vaishyas. These are the Shudras. That is one classification. And he gets more scores in the 3, 7, 11, basically enjoyment and basically providing and the Vaishya part of life, providing for others. This is protecting others, Sevaka. This is providing food for others, what the Vaishyas do. And this is for moksha related houses. So that way you can see how the distribution is for the person. And many a time we are faced with directions, east or south or north or west. There are multiple ways the astrology has seen this. Basically, the water signs are assumed to be north, the fire signs the east, the earthy signs south. These are fixed values by Sthira Chakra, what Varahamira calls it. And the scores for these are pulled out here by formulas. So you can see from this the person's north seems to be better as far as the Sthira Chakra is concerned. But when you come to the individual Lagna based directions, you have the east as 112 and 11, south as 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and 5 are the west houses, and north is 4, 3, 2. And those additions, if you see, he has specific to his Lagna, north seems to be the better off. I mean, this calculation. And there is also Prashtamarga, which, like our temples facing the east, and the southeast is the you can see which scores are being indicated here. This is a different way of seeing the chart and getting the numbers. So this will pave way for how to use these numbers in getting which direction is better for us. And there is also the inner and outer self, contentment, learning, and knowledge are the inner part of it. Outer is more outgoing. So this person seems to be more loving the outer world. So 2, 3, 6, 8, and 12. These are as per the book by Sir C.S. Patel sir's book as well on Ashtakavarga. So these are some useful calculations which you don't have to do anything, just see the reading, because the user's only input is here. Rest are all calculate. We'll have to click everything, all these buttons. And this is one calculation where see the sun's Ashtakavarga, the first four house, the basically first the it is divided into three, the 12 houses. So first four houses for the first 8 hours, the next four houses for the next 8 hours, and the last 8 hours. So which of the 8 hours of the 24 hours is better for you, or in terms of Sun Sashtagavarga? So he has a very low score in the mid. So he does very well in the night, looks like. So that way is one calculation. You'll have to click it, I think, yeah, that way to update the values. Similarly, if you assume some other calculation says that every 2 hours, if you donate, if you denote these rasis to every 2 hours, which as the lowest. So in case it says the Binashtak Varga has a zero value or somewhere, which is the lowest, and the distance from it is 1, 2, 3, 4 houses later, and that time starts at 14:37 in the afternoon. That's because I gave sunrise of 6:37. So this is an user input. The sunrise has to be given as an user input, and this works for some. Yes, we can verify using this Excel sheet and try to see. And there are other users also, plenty of other users for Ashtakavarga. So suppose one needs to find one's own depth, multiply the Shodya Pinta of sun with figures in the eighth from the sun in the Ashtakavarga. For all these calculations, you can use easily. So basically, what he wants you to use is multiply the Shodya Pinta of Surya. So Shodya Pintas are calculated here. For Surya, it is 182. So basically, I'm already put the B59 there, which is the Shodya Pinta of Surya, and that has to be multiplied by the eighth from Surya. So in this case, the eighth from Surya, here is the Surya chart. Eighth from Surya has a 5 value. So this the user has to enter. I have not automated it. So the 5 has to be entered by user, and the mod of that would give the nakshatra. So when Saturn passes over this Mula nakshatra for this case, it will prove fatal for the one's own death. Similarly, the star position of Saturn for this chart you can choose here. That depends upon what your chart says. It seems in this case the star position of Saturn was Makam. So you choose Maka there. Then that's the 10th star. So this will automatically mean instead of from Ashwini, if you calculate it from the star position of Saturn, it turns out to be Ashwini. So when Saturn crosses either this or this, might be prove fatal to the person himself. Similarly, father's death, there are calculations that you have to check if this because this 7 and all I have manually put in. It will all be helpful, but you have to be putting your number there, depending on. Some are automated, some are not. So plenty of other calculations, mother's death, sickness of father, all that, very interesting ones. For some, the reduced charts are used. Here, what do we say? Multiply the total figures in Sun's Ashtakavarga after reductions. See, this chart is Ekadipatya reduced chart is used by the figure in the ninth from Surya in Binashtavarga and divide the product by 27. What he does is, let me do it directly for you. Multiply the total figures in Sun's Ashtakavarga. So in total figures in Sun's Ashtakavarga after reductions. So that is this number. This is the total figure after reductions. By the figures in the ninth from Surya. I don't know what in Binashtavarga he has ninth from Surya. So ninth from Surya has 3 value here. So you multiply that by 3. And you have to take the mod of this with respect to 27. I think it says 27, right? 27, yes. So that gives the remainder. This is the mod will give the remainder. The remainder counted from Ashwini. So when you count from Ashwini, it will be Ashlesha here, 9th star. Represents the star, Saturn transit of which proves fatal to the father. So for this chart is used. So similarly you can use the Excel for all these various types of calculations. I will provide a download link to this. Hope you will be able to use this and yeah, further our knowledge. Thank you.